What's going on, Fast Turn Radio watchers, listeners, replay catchers? And Alan, what's up, man? The fist bump. Thanks for joining us. We have a spontaneous guest tonight, and I'm going to probably mess up your last name, even though it seems pretty straightforward. Is it Underkofler? Alan?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Sweet. So Alan's going to join us for some
commentary.
Commentary.
Yeah,
there you go. I like that. And for anyone that doesn't really know Alan, this is the first time I've ever spoken to you. We've chatted a lot. You got some great information, great leads. You do a lot of RA, and we spoke even in terms of the taboo profits. And I found out that our profits are very similar, though my selling numbers are much higher, which I find interesting.
Which was awesome, because I was kind of worried. I thought I was really falling behind, and then when we started talking profits, I'm like, okay, so not so bad after all. So. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different business models out there. And, if you can sell, truly, if you can sell half as much or even 3/4 as much and make the same amount of money, that's freaking awesome.
And I think as a new seller, I mean, it's really elusive for people. They see these big numbers and then they realize that, people could be making 10% ROI and 2% back from their credit card and 1% back from their rewards program. And they're good. That's golden for them. And that's their model. And it's pretty discouraging for, I think, some sellers when they see these big numbers and they look at their own numbers. They're like, but it really comes down to how much money do you want to make, right?
Yeah. Yep. It definitely does. And, I work on slim margins that range between about 17 and 21% right in that neighborhood, after Amazon fees. And then you take out, the additional office supplies and
insurance,
labor, insurance, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. So, then it comes down a little further. And I think it ends up right about 15% is our normal operating profits. And I'm good with that. Yeah, that works for me.
And I want just a little bit more.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that either. And if you can do it, I mean, like REA, his average selling price is like, I don't know, $50 or $70. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Just selling a lot of high-end stuff. So, he's killing it in his own way. And it is less work to send the higher profit stuff. I do this fast turn thing, and the truth is it tends to be lower margin stuff, but it flies out the door. So,
and when you get a return for something that costs, $20 or $30 sale, it's not such a big deal. But when you get those returns that are like, $90 sale, it's like, that hurt.
Yeah. I bought some stuff yesterday. I bought 2 of an item that, the manager asked me to take it from the store. They're like, he knew I was reselling, spent thousands of dollars in the store, and, spent actually a little over 4,000 yesterday. So had a good spending day. But he was like, what would it take to get you to take these? What do I have to do? And, they're about $300, and, started looking, they sell for $4. I was like, $150, at $150, I make about $300 profit, or I'm sorry, I get a $300 payout. That gives me about $150 profit. So, I can do $150. And he came back, he checked his numbers, and he's like, $215 is the lowest I can go.
Was this a Walmart?
No, it wasn't a Walmart. Not going to say where it was.
I love dealing with those managers, man. They're so much fun.
Yeah. Well, let me finish this, and then you can tell me some of your negotiating stories. But I was like, you know what? You're nice. You've been my personal shopper. And just as a good faith sort of thing, I was like, I'll take it. $215, I can live with it. Payout is a little over $300. So if everything goes well, I make $100. If somebody returns either one of those 2, or God forbid, both of them, I just ate $400, and it's the way.
But in the grand scope of your business, it's totally irrelevant. So you just have to go with it. You know?
And now the manager knows me, I know him, and I truly believe forevermore I'll be that guy that is there to help him, and that is worth a whole lot more than $400. I mean, I'm about this close to being on the call list, where, and I say this close because the next time I go to certain stores, I am truly going to say, these are the items I'm looking for. Can you call me when they come in, and I'll buy them all. Don't put them out on the floor. Don't nothing. And they know I'm serious, because I've now been to various stores a few times. they know I'm going to spend 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. They like that. I mean, one manager, he was like, it's going to be tough to top this sales day. And this was like, a month ago. And it was over $2,000. And I was like, really? That makes it, that's a big day to you. Cool. That's So anyway, but those returns do hurt. That was the point of all this. If those little puppies, and I had some things that I was paying $80 for, and they got returned. They were a refurb, and they were not a good refurb. So a lot of them came back, and I was just throwing away $80 at a time. I mean, literally, I took them to the dump and they were trash. I was like, dude, that's painful, but such is life.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite negotiating story? Do you have one?
Every week I have one, I think. I think the biggest thing is to be willing to walk away and actually walk away. I shop all the big retailers like everybody else, and I hear the same thing every time I talk about negotiating price, which is that their rules that they're not allowed to do that anymore, or something changed, or their theft has gone up, so therefore they can't do that anymore. I hear all the excuses in the world, and basically what I've learned from lots of people, including you, is that you just go to the highest person, and they either have the money to do it or they don't. And if you catch them on the day that they do it, I've also heard that even maybe from Chris Green, that there's certain times of the month that's better. I don't find that the case. I find it really just at the whim of the manager that you have to be talking to. And if you're, talking to the store manager, the highest person, your chances of getting a good deal are pretty good. And I used to always say, I'll take this. What I've kind of learned now is that I'll go down an aisle, the clearance aisle, and I'll start pulling everything that I want to buy, one of each, and lay it on the floor. And then I'll go find a manager and say, I want everything that you have of everything you see on the floor, but I want it for half of what you have it for now. So I did that a lot, and had a lot of success. Probably 50 to 70% of the time I get that deal. Then I learned that I should keep my mouth shut and just see what they offer me. Because a couple of weeks ago, I got some things for 25 cents and 50 cents, and there's no way you could go wrong with that. And so it's kind of interesting to play with your own negotiating skills when you're talking to these managers, because just because the price says whatever it is on clearance, I mean, clearly it's negotiable. The more you could possibly buy, the larger the train you could create, right? The more willing they should take money off of it, and I think that's pretty cool. So I love clearance, and I'm also surprised that we're still finding things on clearance, still enough clearance to actually make a train of carts, 4 carts, 5 carts of clearance items. Even now, I thought that would be kind of turned off by now, but it's not. It's still pretty active, so kind of fun.
Yeah. That's the clearance around here has faded away a little bit, but it was good up until I'd say about a month ago was probably the last time I ran a clearance train. But that's always fun. You get the looks, you get the people, kind of going, what's your deal? And especially at Walmart, because I know they don't care. I'm like, okay, I don't really have like a children's institute or anything. I'm selling this stuff. It's that's all. It's not that exciting.
My favorite thing is, I usually say that I'm a compulsive shopper. But my favorite line is to say, the zombie apocalypse is going to happen and I'm preparing.
Yeah, there you go.
And that usually gets people to they look at me like, you are insane. But, what are you supposed to say when you have a basket full of diapers and tampons and, you're a guy? What are you supposed along with a bunch of toys and random things? It just doesn't make any sense to me or anybody looking at my cart. So,
That's true. Yeah, Mindy has a great line that he shared last night that he says it's going to a good cause. That's
the darn truth of it too, right?
And we all kind of form in our own mind what that really means, and that's fine. It's a good cause. So but let's see. Ellen says, not true. Even free is too much with time invested on a bad product. Bought a bunch of toilet lid stickers. Not the best use of my time. Yeah, you still want to make sure they're decent products. I mean, I don't want to take that 400 ranked toy just because it's cheap. It's not me. I don't want to sit on it for the next 6 months, a year. And that's happened. I've done it.
But I don't buy bad products either. I'm not negotiating a good bottom low price for a product that's 150, 200,000 rank. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me or you, or probably, I mean, maybe it does for some people, but it doesn't for me. I'm looking for things that are already selling well. Um, Contrary to a lot of people, I have no problem competing against Amazon. I seem to do okay, for a while, at least, usually.
Yeah, Amazon has become less competitive, in my opinion. There
Yeah.
was something that I bought recently. Normally, my rule has been if I can't buy it for a quarter, maybe a third of what Amazon's selling it for, then I won't buy it. Because if say, just to throw some numbers at you, if they're selling for 30, and I look at that, I say, well, I think they're willing to come down probably close to half of where they're at. So I know they're going to come down to 20. So I got to buy at 10 to be able to meet them at 20 and still make a profit. Because they used to be very aggressive. Well, I bought something the other day, didn't realize Amazon was on it until I started loading up the cart. And then it was one of the few times that a manager looked at me and he said, I can't sell you all of it. Just can't do it. We have the right to limit quantities. It's, going to have to do it. I said, okay, no problem. I understand. So I took the 3 that he let me have. I had literally, I say a cart. I think it was 2 carts full. I mean, I was buying a bunch. And so I took the 3 and I realized after I filled up the carts that Amazon was on the listing. So I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity to just take the 3, send them in, test the product, see if it's viable or not. And I sent them in, and Amazon, so I bought at $9. Amazon was listed at 23, and they stayed there. I listed at 21, and they stayed at 23. I blew through those 3, and I said, okay, and now I am buying them across the country. Okay.
And you know what? I've had things like that happen before where I found a certain toy that worked really well for me that Amazon was on at like $19.99, and I came in and was selling at $18.99, getting the buy box, and I was selling them, and I was selling them, and I was buying them, and I was buying them, and then bam, I had like 40 in stock, and Amazon's now at $4.99, and they haven't left that $4.99 yet. The toy's still like super high ranked, and I'm still stuck. So then I decided, all right, screw you, Amazon. I started buying them from Amazon. You know what the hell? I mean, if they're going to sell them that cheap, they got to run out eventually, right? So, I mean, you can't go too far on that, but it was kind of comical. It's like, okay, well, I did pretty well for a while, and you just have to be careful. And I guess that's the biggest thing. You never know when they change their mind or when they get more inventory in, right?
Yeah, definitely. And Cordelia said it's arbitrary, or at least seems that way. And I agree. I mean, there are some things that I'm sure they would still hammer me on, but for whatever reason, they're letting this one fly. I'm like, hey, thanks, and it's, sub 5,000 in home and kitchen. I will take that all day long.
Yeah, and I'm changing my strategy a little bit. I don't know about you, but if I have something like that, I'll typically do, I'll put it in at a higher price and wait for all of my stock to get in the warehouses, and then I'll drop my price.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Is there any logic in that? I have no idea. It's just a matter of how quickly is Amazon going to adjust their price, and can I sell my 10 or 20 units before they change the price? So that's kind of what I've started doing as well.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you're not. Well, you're West Coast, but for me on the East Coast, hopefully you're not shipping to California in that case, because you'll be sitting on that stuff for 2 or 3 weeks.
Everything I ship goes to California. Everything goes to Ontario and sits for a week before I start seeing it.
Do you have a premium placement then?
No, it's my bulk warehouse, so 17 units or more. For the most part right now, if I ship any amount, it's going to that warehouse.
Okay.
So it's weird. My distribution centers change all the time, but that's very odd.
Ah, very cool. And Svetlana just wrote me a letter.
I know, I just saw that come up. I'm like, oh.
I can do a sentence or two. There is no way I can read all that. So I will wait for a break at some point to get back to all of that. Otherwise, we're going to have dead air for like 30 seconds because I read really slowly. All right, let's see. Where should we start? Let's start with sales, because I do want to talk, and you kind of touched on it. One of the big things that has struck me lately are people talking about slow sales. It drives me nuts. Amazon will let you sell stuff, and your stuff should be moving. But let me do the road to 500K. Show everybody my sales, and then you can pick on me and all that good stuff. I'll answer whatever questions anybody has, and then we can talk about why, honestly, why I'm able to put up the numbers I am while I see other people. And I saw a post in the forum, which I don't go into the forums. I always just see the headlines. But sure enough, today, there's a little headline that says, anybody else having slow sales? And you should not.
But you see that all the time. I mean, you'll see slow sales comments on groups and on the forums all the time.
Yeah, and I'll get to it in a minute, but trust me, people, I learned this the hard way. This is as much a comment on me as it is you, but it's your fault. If you have slow sales, it is your fault. But we'll discuss that in a second. Let's look at what some, at least in my mind, decent sales look like. Because I am very happy with the way this month is shaping up. God, I got a lot of windows open. Joe Lister, by the way, if anybody has heard me in the past talk about Joe Lister, it is definitely picking up. I was looking, I think I've sold not a lot, but like 27 items or so, which isn't a lot except for the fact that at $5 an item, that's $150 and I'm paying $30 a month to have the service. So that works for me. And it's moving a lot of stale inventory that I would otherwise be sitting on Amazon. So,
and is it completely hands off? Like you put it up there?
100%.
Really?
Yeah. You tell Joe Lister that you want it syncs up to your Amazon inventory. And so you just pick the Amazon product that you want and say list. And there's some options as to how you price, but my default is to price it so that my profits come out exactly the same. So it calculates your MCF fees, calculates your eBay percentage and your PayPal percentage, puts all those fees into it and says, okay, if you're selling for $20 on Amazon at a $5 profit, you have to sell for $23.75 on eBay to get that same $5 profit because of the MCF fees. So the MCF fees are a little higher, but the eBay fees are a little lower, and it helps to offset some of that stuff. And so the prices come out very, very close. But yeah, it's totally hands off. An order comes in, it looks just like a self-generated order. I don't know if you've ever done an MCF, but it comes in as an MCF order. It takes about 3 to 4 days maybe for it to process. That part I don't like. I don't know if there's an option to get the pay a couple bucks extra for 2-day shipping. I would love to be able to set that up and have that as part of the listing. But anyway, the order comes in, Joe Lister gets everything in motion. You never touch the product. You don't create the listing. The listing, there's a template that it uses. And it's as hands-off and instant as I could ever imagine. It's the only way I'll do eBay. I promise you that. So, and Svetlana probably just cursed at me under her breath. She is an eBay and Amazon diehard.
It works for some. It's a lot of work at eBay stuff.
Yeah. All right. So we got the screen up finally. Let me get back to my screen so that I can share it. And I don't have any water. I'll tell you how unprepared I am. Probably going to let you talk for a second just so I can go get a glass of water.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about? Throw up your numbers. I'll talk about your numbers.
There you go. You can just talk about my numbers. All right. Let's start with, let me make sure again that I hate this new format.
Yeah, come on, show it to me. Let's see I want to see the real stuff.
The funny thing is, it probably wouldn't matter a bit because it's just also subjective,
Yeah.
What you get at Walmart, even if I know what you got and where you got it, I still don't know what you paid for it. And that plays a big part.
You know what? If it's at Walmart, there's pricing is all over the board. You could pay $2 at one Walmart and $10 at the next and see it for $20 at the next one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I saw something at Sam's Club that I bought for $20 on clearance. And I went to the next Sam's Club and it was $30 on clearance. Okay, you guys are just like Walmart. Yeah, I know they're owned by the same parent company.
And I've never walked into a Sam's Club. Maybe that's what I've learned today, if I need to actually go into Sam's Club.
Dude, there are some killer deals. When you find clearance at Sam's, that is a whole different world. And of course, it's Sam's. So you don't fill up, you don't create a train, you just fill up a flatbed. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, I'll take that pallet of clearance. Thank you.
Is it similar to Walmart in the sense that it's all random? Each Sam's Club has different things on clearance based on the store sales or whatever?
No, they tend to have the same things on clearance, but how much they charge for the clearance seems to vary. So, that's the subjective part. But no, I tend to find the same things on clearance, even nationwide. It's just like, get rid of this product. But it might literally be $2 at one Sam's. It might be $4 at another and $10 at another. It's just totally at store discretion as to how far they want to mark the stuff down. So that part of it's a little odd. If you ever see anything that ends in 91, and maybe even 81, maybe anything that ends in a 1 is clearance at Sam's. So that's how you're looking at the clearance stuff. Otherwise, there's no other sign or anything. It's just here it is. All right, so road to 500K. Like I said, we're having a good 30 days, 15 days, even our 7 days is insane. We had 2 $3,000 days. Yesterday was 2,000. Today's probably close to 2,000. So we've done almost 10,000 just in the last 4 days. See, the payout is going to be nice. That disperses on Friday evening. So not sure that we'll get to 20,000, but we'll be close. And anytime we're anywhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 hitting our bank account, I'm happy with that, because you can take profits and sales and all that junk, throw it out the window. That's hard cash. That's the money in the pocket. So,
and look at all those sales you're making in Mexico. My God.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Tequila sells really well. All right. Let's see. Business reports. Yeah, we are over 2,000. Sweet. You see yesterday was 2,200. So just a good month in general. ASP is well over 30 today, so that's good. I'm not really sure why, but I would have to go. Oh, I do know. Well, we sold a couple of $100 items, which helps. I noticed that right before I was told to come on air. So let's see, month to date. We're almost 45,000 for the month, so I'm happy with that. Definitely on pace. Let's see, today's the 21st, so on pace roughly for 60, maybe touch more than 60. Excuse me, if we can keep it up. And we're actually getting into November, which is the true Q4 that we all hear about. October is the forgotten month of Q4. It's good if you get into some of the Halloween stuff, if you get into the chocolate, maybe the pumpkin spice, if you want to do the grocery angle. Toys are still our biggest seller day over day. Today, this month has been a little different. You see, we've hit the health and personal care a whole lot harder.
Yeah.
Toys have dropped off quite a bit. Grocery has been good. So just depends. The stuff's out there. I'm willing to sell whatever I find. And this month, it's just been a whole lot of health and personal care. Today, let's do year-to-date overall. Year-to-date, 333,000, almost 334. We did 215 last year. But really, the one that I like to look at. Whoops, that didn't work too well. January 1st. So we'll look at the actual date range, and we've done 333,000 this year versus the same period last year at 109. That is huge growth. I don't care who you are. That blows my mind, honestly. That is so unreal to me, because I know what last year looked like. It's almost scary going into the true Q4 with that kind of multiplier already in the bag. If we could continue that through Q4, that'd be a 300,000. Is that me?
That's you.
I'm not sure who that is. Somebody's trying to call me. Anyway, if we can continue that, we're looking at 300,000 for Q4, and that's October through December. We've almost done 45,000 already this month, and we will end up close to 60,000. So, it's almost a done deal that we'll do far beyond 300,000 in Q4. That's just my opinion. All right. Any questions about the road to 500K or my numbers in general? Again, you guys know the basic profit margins are, say 20%. After Amazon fees, about 15% after Everything true net margin is running about 15%.
Show us all your categories.
All right, I can show you some.
And the what did you do approximately last year, November, December combined? Do you have that off the top of your head or no?
Know where you're going?
November, December.
Know where you're going?
Hang on. So, somebody's talking. Let me get back to my screen where I can control. All right, Alan, you'll have to unmute yourself, I think. Or no, you're right here. I can unmute you. Okay, you're unmuted. Did I do the right Alan? No, I didn't.
Yeah, well, I unmuted myself, so it's all good.
Yeah, I unmuted the other Alan. Okay, I don't know off the top of my head, but you know what? It's easy enough to pull up. I kind of do. I think we did 99,000, if I'm not mistaken.
In the 2 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me pull it up. I know we did 69 in September, and I think we did in December, and we did 30 in November, I believe. But rather than guess, I'd rather just bring it up real quick and show you. Yeah, so 101, and I think if we back that off.
So you did about 100,000 through October, and then did another 100,000 November, December.
Yeah, because we only did 11.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we only did 11.9 in October, so it was basically a wasted month. It was horrible. I had no clue what to do last year at this time. So anyway, so yeah, there's November alone. Excuse me, 32. Add in December. Jumps up to the 101. And, so yeah, we did 100,000, 110, 100, about 110,000, I guess, through October, and then 101,000 in the last 2 months. And 69 of that was December alone. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's thanks. But yeah, hopefully that tells you guys what's coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't have like a full November, December to really compare to. So
yeah, so here is I just don't want to go too far because they show stuff at the bottom of the screen that I don't like anymore.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, at least mine does. It has some like FBA suggested.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
But there's our basic layout of last year. So grocery was our top.
Is this still November, December?
Yeah, this is November, December. So this is what the 100,000 looks like.
So you did 40% in November, December in grocery. That's crazy.
Yeah. Candy canes sell. Really. There's
I'll have you know, I just sold my last 3-pack of candy canes today. It's very sad.
Yeah, it's
but very profitable.
Oh, it's absolutely profitable. I mean, you pick those things up for like $1 and then you sell them for $12, after the season. Maybe you were getting more than that, but that's what I used to sell them. I didn't do candy canes this year, but yeah, seriously, if you think about the holidays, what do we all talk about? How much food we're going to eat. The turkey at Thanksgiving, the ham at Christmas, and all the foods in between, all the baked goods, all the candies and the hot cocoa, the coffees, all that kind of stuff. It's not just Christmas. It's like, oh, it's wintertime. It's time to do this, and that's what I try to teach in my coaching when we're doing the brainstorming sessions is, go back to your grandma's house when you're little, walk in the front door and look around and take in the sights of Christmas or of winter. Think about the things that take you back to your childhood. And that's what people buy. And I swear, Christmas is nothing more than realizing that you are still a child in your heart and in your mind. And we go back to those comfort foods, and we go back to the decorations and whatever it is, the fake snow. You can't really sell that on Amazon because it's in a pressurized can, but I remember doing the fake snow on the window kind of stuff, and all of that. It's just once you remember what it was like, it's easy to start buying. And that's how you get out of the toys. I mean, the toys are easy. Those are, you go buy the hot toy stuff. But when you start looking at the clothing, you know, it's winter time. Well, boots, sweaters, hats, gloves, scarves, that's all winter type items. That's going to sell November, December, January, February. It's going to go through the whole season. The home products, again, that's the home and kitchen. So if people are baking, they're going to have a lot of pots and pans and that kind of stuff. So, you know, you see the home appliances up there. That's how all that kind of comes together. Is I just start thinking, what is it that reminds me of my childhood? And that's what I go by. And grocery is a huge part of that. You know, there are certain things that reminded me of what Christmas is, and that's what I went after. And sure enough, it sold like crazy. So, but yeah, somebody asked me about some chocolates today, you know, and I started thinking, I have not investigated this. This is a free one for anyone that wants to chase it down. And I'm sorry if I crash somebody's bolo. I should probably, well, whatever. One thing that I thought about the other day that is just like this time of year, or as it gets a little bit colder, was cordial cherries. You know, little chocolate covered cherries. I'm like,
I sold those last year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. To me, that's just like quintessential Christmas time food. So, you know, I'll probably look into that a little bit, see what I can come up with. But any of that, you know, so yeah, the candy canes and chocolate covered cherries and whatever else. So anyway, that's what you have to look forward to. Whatever you guys have done up to this point, that's what you have to look forward to the end of the year. I mean, you should double your sales. So, you know, we're doing the road to 500K. At this point, if we don't end up at least 600,000, I will consider a disappointment. Will it be a failure? No, not at all. Still a heck of a lot of money. But I think our potential is definitely there to do at least 600,000. So, all right, kind of left the chat room for a second while I was talking, and you guys can't see it, but I was truly like thinking back to my childhood kind of stuff. All right, so can you swing back around the subject of slow sales? And if it's your stuff, I would like you to expound on that. Absolutely. All right, let me stop the share. So you guys see, right? Let me show you one thing real quick before I get off of here. Let me go back just in case anybody was not watching at this time. Let me show you what a really bad month looks like, and I'll give you my excuse for it. There you go, $6,000 in June of last year. Okay, $6,000, did $2,000 in toys, $1,800 in health and personal care.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's nothing, right? There's no sales there. It was top 20 categories. I can't possibly have 20 categories I sold in. No way. There's like 10. I mean, that's terrible. I sold a video game, it looks like, for $75.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, wait, it's 3 of them. Sorry. Apparently I sold 3 $25 video games. Sold 1 $14 sports and outdoor, 1 beauty product for $12. That's pathetic. All right. So let me take the screen share off. All right, back to me. So that's what a really bad month looks like. And my excuse at the time, I mean, I if you go back and search Fast Turn Radio in the threads and all that stuff, if you put in dog days of summer, I guarantee you somewhere between June and August of last year, I used that phrase. I said it's a dog days of summer. You know, your sales are slow because it's summertime. That's just the way it goes. I could have left it up here. Let me fast forward a year later. We did 34,000, I think, in June this year.
You made it up in your head.
It was just a cop out. It was just me going, the kids are off from school. You know, my wife's off. She works at the school, so she's off. The kids are off. I got lazy. You know, and I was doing the coaching. That's when my coaching took off. So I had income from the coaching. So I didn't have to work that hard. And I blamed it on summer. Well, that's just the way it is in summer. I took a lot of vacation this year too, and did, you know, 30,000 in June and 30,000 in July on vacation, essentially. I picked better products. So when I say it's your fault, I say that as someone who's experienced the blame game and somebody who did it's just that time of year. No, it's your products. Because There is a top 100 product or top 100 in every category. There's a top 1,000 in every category, top 5,000 every category. There are hundreds of thousands of products that are selling dozens, if not hundreds a day. If you're not selling those products, that's your fault. That is on you. You picked the wrong products. If somebody is lowballing, right? We all talk about the race to the bottom. Well, somebody's lowballing my product. Somebody cut the price. I can't make a profit. Well, then you've decided not to sell your product at that price. And that's up to you. That is totally up to you. But it is not their fault that you are not making money. You chose to buy at this price, expecting to sell at that price, and it didn't happen. You can cut your price and you can sell and reinvest in a better product. You can hold your prices higher, but don't blame that person for your slow sales. The problem is you either didn't buy as well as them or you're choosing a different strategy than they are. But either way, that's your decision. So, if that's what you've decided to do, it's not really your fault, but that's your decision. Your slow sales are a result of either your pricing or your product selection, or God forbid, both. Now, if you picked a bad product and a bad price, I mean, you need some help and ask for some help. But that's why I say it's your fault, because I was there. I was sitting there going, well, it's summertime, nothing sells. And in October, I said, oh, this is the calm before the storm. That was my excuse for doing 12,000 in October last year. There's no calm before the storm. Crap, we did 45,000 already in 20 days, or 21 days this month. A year later, our sales are 4 times what they were, and they'll end up being about 5 times what they were. So the time of year is the same. Yeah, and there's more competition. There's even, and I hear that a lot. Well, there's more sellers now. Yeah, there's more sellers. We're kicking the crap out of last year. I'm working a lot harder. That's probably one big thing. Now, if you don't want to work hard, I don't know what to tell you. To me, this business is hard work. And that's another thing that I hear from a lot of people is, well, I want to automate everything. Well, doesn't everybody? If I could just click my mouse and have it be like an ATM where it just spit out money at me, that'd be cool. But that's not reality.
I thought that's what FBA was. I'm so confused. I keep telling my wife all the time, I say, we're just printing money. That's all we're doing. This is like printing money. Takes a little bit of work to run the press, but it's printing money. And it really is like that for me, at least, I think.
Yeah. It is turning, I'm going to turn this little, what's his name? Little Captain Hook guy, whatever. Jake the Neverland Pirate. That's him. See, I'm going to turn this little pencil into money. Now that we can do. Now that's a magical thing that happens. That's how I look at it. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to sell it over there and it's going to turn into this. All right. That happens, but it takes effort. So yes, Amazon will give you money. They absolutely, you can make a living doing this. Can you make a living sitting on your butt, clicking a few buttons and automating the whole thing? Not that I've found. Now, if somebody out there says that they've done it, possibly. I haven't figured it out. And Cordelia put in a comment that, yeah, it's kind of what everyone wants. I just need some high profit replens with good rank. Yeah. Well, and I like unicorns too, but
yeah. And you'll get them for about 2 months and then all of a sudden they're not profitable anymore.
Yeah. And I had one that was an autopilot type of thing, right? I was ordering from the manufacturer at 20, selling at 30, 36 or 38, making about $8 on each one, but selling literally, dozens a day. So I was thrilled. I mean, I was ordering 100 at a time and I was doing that each week. I mean, it was great. Today, that same product is selling for about $28. Well, if you're buying for 20 and you're selling for 28, you're not making any money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there are those short instances where those things will happen, but they are definitely short-lived. And
but they are out there. I mean, I have plenty of replens that I've been ordering since I started. So I started mid-November last year. I have products that I've been shipping since December, January, February that I'm still buying and replenishing on. So they're out there. They may not be in that 3,000 rank that we want, but they are out there. They do move. And competition comes and goes. Price fluctuates up and down. Your profit's great, then it's not, then it's great again. But they're definitely out there. It's just a matter of Like I get lazy. I go to the same retailers, and I know what I'm looking for, and I shop the clearance items, and I get lazy. I don't spend that extra half hour on one aisle and rescan it for an hour and rescan the entire aisle. And when I do that, what happens? I find another replan that I carry for like another 3 months before the price gets tanked. So, it comes down to that work. Are you willing? Because here's the thing is those new sellers that are coming on board, they're willing to scan the whole aisle. Some of them are. Some of them will scan 20 items and say, this is stupid. There's nothing to sell, right? Which is awesome. But if they're willing to scan the whole aisle, you should be willing to scan the whole aisle if you're doing RA and looking for replens.
Yeah.
That's a long note.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to read through it. I know Darren. So he's actually one of my local competitors.
Nice.
Yeah, we're about 35 minutes apart. So, and we both shop the Savannah area. So I'll try to read that in a second. But yeah, replens, they don't all die. I have one. I created the listing on it. It's been outed in BOLO groups. And, that thing is still kicking. I think it's ranked around 40,000 in home and kitchen. You're still where I used to sell for like around $30, 29 to 32 in that range when I created it with a cost of 13. It's now running around 26, 27. Okay, so it's dropped a few dollars, not much. It's picked up some competition, but it's bearable. But yeah, anytime I want to go to the store and pick it up, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's actually become harder to find. When I used to be able to buy 100 of them at a time, I liked it more. Now sending in 3 doesn't really excite me. But those are out there. And, Chris and I were talking the other day, Chris Green, just about the attitude of sellers and what makes sellers successful. And, again, this kind of came back to me. I realized I have a different attitude when I go into a store. I know I'm going to find something. See, and he nailed it. He said, it's just confidence. And that's really what it is. When you're new and you spend 3 hours in a store and you find nothing, it's very easy to become deflated, discouraged, and this doesn't work. What am I doing wrong? And suddenly you're paying $1,000 for a coach, and that coach is going to look at you and go, well, go to the store and scan stuff. You're like, well, I did that and it didn't work. So, hopefully if you have a better coach, they'll walk you through some strategies and all that. But I mean, it comes back to a lot of the same basic principles, which is you get your butt in the store and you go find stuff. Like I said in the beginning, I spent over $4,000 retail arbitrage yesterday. I've seen people in major cities posting, and I'm in Savannah. Savannah is not a major city. I had to drive 3 hours away to a decent size place. Okay. Not huge, but decent. I've seen people in major areas say, there's no RA opportunities here. You can't make a living doing this. I got to go find a job. That's you with a bad attitude, perspective, something
But Duane, I mean, come on. I mean, like, this is going to sound awful and I might get some flack for it, but most people are lazy. I mean, hands down,
there you go.
They're lazy. And not only are they lazy, but they've been taught for years and years and years that they go to work, they work X amount of hours, which most of those hours they're screwing off, and they get a paycheck. So this whole concept of actually working and really, really working is a hard one to grasp. And for a lot of people, it takes time to get to that point where they're really doing it. And most people quit. Most people will scan 20, 50, 100, 500 items and they're done. That's it. They're done. It doesn't work. This is stupid,
Yep.
And thank God, right? Because what that allows for me and you and other people on this call today is that it allows them to keep scanning, keep moving, and find more and more products. So my biggest problem right now is I want to do less RA, but I can't. It's like an addiction. Like I can't not go, right? Because there's so many great, profitable deals right now. It's unbelievable. And there's still clearance stuff out there. And there's still stuff right off the shelf, full price off the shelf that you could list on Amazon and make 100% return on. It's out there. It's on the shelf. All you have to do is scan it. That's it. And I'm shocked. If I start putting your numbers into play, Like, it's endless. Like, if I'm willing to make 30% ROI, it's endless on the amount of inventory that's out there that you can make money on. And all you have to do is scan it and be willing to ship it into Amazon. That's it. And I'm not even talking about bundles, just straight products off the shelf. It's out there. All you have to do is scan it.
Yep, absolutely.
But most people won't.
No, people, I agree. A lot of people are lazy. A lot of people lack the confidence. And if you're willing to work and you get this much of a taste of stuff, I'm telling you, you're going to succeed. And I've watched so many new sellers now. I haven't been around that long, but somehow I feel like I've been around forever. It's kind of weird, but I've seen a lot of new sellers, and I get the ones that a year, 2 years later are still in the same place, still with the same questions, complaints, frustrations, roadblocks. And then I see brand new sellers that are going, hey, when you're at Walmart, go look for this, because I just found an end cap full and it's awesome. And I can't find any more, but hopefully you can find some. And it comes in daily. There is one new seller and she is absolutely killing it. And it blows me away because she's doing this truly part-time. I know what her full-time job is. She said, this was her way of just making some extra side money. It's kind of her release almost. And she is doing better than people that I've watched do this for 2 years. And she's got it. She sees it. She understands it, and she's doing it. I don't know how to instill that in people, but Raphael Grupico is another one. I don't know if you know Raphael at all, but he's somebody that I saw from the beginning that as soon as, 2 conversations with the guy and you were like, oh, he's going to be good. And now, a year later, I think, he's putting up the same numbers I am. And it's RA, 1-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor. I mean, this dude's humping some packages up and down stairs and he's got no space whatsoever. So you hear people. Well,
I totally disagree with that last comment, by the way. I think anybody could do this. It's just a matter if you're willing to or not. That's it.
Yeah.
If you want,
what I said,
if you want,
disagreeing with.
Not everyone can do this. I don't think that's the case. I think this is easy money. I think if you don't know what to do, you could listen to calls like this, there's tons of YouTube videos out there. You could learn the basics. I've pulled people in to try to teach them how to do this, and shocked. Much like you do, Duane, I open my books up. I show them exactly what I'm doing, what I'm buying, where I'm finding it. And a couple months go by and they're gone. They're not doing it. Why? And I think it goes back to most people are just not willing to do it.
Yeah.
It's not that they can't. They just don't want to.
Okay. I can live with that, I guess. But yeah, some people, Leron, I think, nailed it. Some people are employees. Some people are business owners. If you're not prepared to own a business, if you just want to collect a paycheck, this is not the right place. You're not going to put in 4 hours worth of half-hearted work and make a full-time income. It takes full-time effort to make full-time income. And then, And I agree with what Alan just said too. Most people just don't want to work. They don't want to work. So yeah, we got all kinds of comments. And I'm sorry, I'm ignoring the comments. It's just, I am not Andy Slamans, REA. These guys can read and talk at the same time. It's not easy for me, but, yeah. Lazy. Welcome to America 2015. There you go. Pack for $10 an hour. Yeah. Hire people out. That's kind of the next level sort of stuff, but that came up in our Q4 Virgins group. What was the biggest mistake you made? Biggest mistake I made was not hiring soon enough. I tried to do it all myself. Huge mistake. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm reading back through this, and it's just going to be dead air for a second.
It's all great comments. It's all about commenting on the laziness of people, but I think you said that this was going to be about if your numbers aren't what they're supposed to be, it's your own fault. I think that has to do with excuses. And each day, for me at least, each day I wake up and I have a choice. My choice is I could either work and be productive, or I could be lazy and screw off. All of my Amazon money is not, I don't use it. all the money I make, I go back into inventory. I don't need the money for this. To me, this is just a game. How much money can I create by January, right? So I have it way different than most people that are probably building this business and actually trying to pay their mortgage with it or something like that. I'm not trying to do that at all. I just want to see how much I can create. So each day, I'm my biggest excuse. It's between here. This is it. So I'm either going to wake up and hustle and pack boxes and get 25 boxes out and ready for UPS by the time they get to my house at 3:30. And then after that's done, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to jump in my car and I'm going to go shopping till 10 o'clock at night, or I'm not, and that's a choice that we make each and every day. And it's all about choices. And here's the thing is that if you find yourself in this like whatever state where you're not being productive and you're screwing off watching Netflix in the middle of the day when you should be packing boxes, and then the next month you're worried because you don't have the money to pay your bills or whatever, at any moment during your day, you could start over. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's okay to screw off as long as if you want to, or you have the money to, but just realize at any moment you could change your day. You could start over again and get out to a store. If you have a bad interaction with a store, you go in there for 2 hours, you don't find anything. Your choice is to either go home sad that you didn't find anything, or go to another store. And if you go to another store, that's the store where you could find $3,000, right? You could pay $3,000 for a product, bring it home, and pack it the next day. And it's those little choices that we make each day that determine whether we're successful or not, and how successful we are. Your choices that you're making, Duane, are creating the success that you're having. My choices are creating the success I'm having. And it's the same for every caller. And it's just changing those choices throughout the day, making more positive choices to increase your numbers, I think. I do think anybody could do this. It's just a matter of those little choices.
Yeah. Yeah, I still go back to some people are not made for this business.
I think some people are just lazy, and that's totally cool.
See, that's the person that's not made for this business.
Well, I mean, but that's cool. I mean, if they only want to make $100 a month, $100 is there for them. I personally want to make more.
Yeah,
right.
And that's yeah. So back to the RA thing just for a second. Yeah, there is no reason you can't walk into a store. Once you get the confidence and you know what's going on, you can walk into a store and you're going to find deals. They are there. You start to understand product lines. You start to understand the seasonal ebbs and flows of things. You know the general products to scan that are going to have those products or profits, and that just comes with time. I mean, I can tell you, but there is nothing like finding that first Shopkins, where you just go in kind of blind and you scan it and you go, oh my God, this 12-pack selling for $23, $8 on this $10 purchase. Those moments, to me, that's what grabs you. That's what gives you what you need to go the next time. And yesterday started out pretty slow, honestly. I got to the store. First store, I spent like 4 hours. And I was scanning. I had a pick list, but I was scanning a lot of new stuff too, because I knew I had some time. And spent about 4 hours. And I walked out and I had spent $1,300. That's not great, honestly. That's a lot of time. But then I stopped by a Big Lots, and in 30 minutes, spent $200. Should return actually $300. I found some great stuff that is sold out everywhere. Apparently, nobody is doing RA in this little area. So thank you, everybody not doing RA there. Went to Sam's Club, picked up another $500, and then I got to my other store that I had on my list, and that's where I dropped, I think, $1,700 at that one. Well, no, two separate transactions, so $2,100. Okay, at the second store, I was only there for maybe an hour. And most of that was just the checkout was half an hour. There was a lot of stuff to go through.
It takes a few minutes for those raise cards to come in.
It does. So yeah, the stuff's out there. And if you are in any kind of city, I mean, there are the people like Charlene Anderson's the one that comes to mind. If you're in middle of nowhere, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and there truly isn't anything around, maybe a little different story. But you know what you can do? Because I'll tell you right now, every one of the young guns, Matt might not be, but I think everybody right now is out at a store somewhere. Here it is, 9 o'clock at night, and they're sending in pictures in our little chat that we have on Facebook of truckloads of stuff and carloads of stuff and just pictures from inside the store. They're out there. If you are in a bad area, drive to a good area. I drove 3 hours out and 3 hours back and a half an hour in between to go do RA yesterday. It's just what you got to do sometimes. Get out.
2.5 hours to get to a whole new market for me, and I do it. Go out there, spend 8 hours shopping, 2.5 hours back. Yeah, why not?
It's, I'll do up to about 3 out and back. At 4, now I'm going to spend the night. That's kind of my. And I said that one night, and then KIB, who is. And she is a senior citizen at this point. I won't tell you her age, but I said, I only drive about 3 hours, and that's kind of my limit. One word response. Why?
It's all in head.
And then she shows me a route where she drove like 4 hours up and 4 hours back in the same day. And I went, yeah, all right. That's really no good reason, I guess. It's out there. It's out there for the taking.
My biggest problem is that I'm completely unemployable. So I have to make things like this work, whether it's this venture or another venture. Like, I don't have a choice. I can't get a job. I wouldn't even know what that would be like at this point. It's been too long.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I do want to get back to Darren's question real quick. He said, basically, if you have a replan, when do you stop using that replan? How much competition is too much? When is it no longer a viable product? For me personally, it's about I'd say one a day. If I'm not selling one a day of a replan, I don't really want it, because unless it's a high value something where every time it sells you're getting $20 or $30. If it's $4 or $5, which is where a lot of my replans kind of run, about 4 to 5 range is kind of normal for me. I need to sell a few of those a day. If I'm not, I don't want to mess with it. So
really, so like if you have a product at a major retailer that is going to sell 10 a month, and you're at that major retailer probably almost every day doing your RA, you're telling me that you're not going to pick up those 10? Really? Can you just send me that list? Because I'll pick up the 10. That seems ridiculous to me. I don't even know.
That's fine.
If you have the packers to pack it, including, you have 3 packers now, right?
Yeah. So,
unless they're so slammed that they can't handle it, why wouldn't you pick up those 10 units a month and sell those 2? That's leaving money on the table.
That's a pretty valid point. Because I got tired of sending the 3, 4, or 5 items, even 10, where it was 3 to this warehouse, 3 to that warehouse, and 4 to that warehouse kind of stuff. And It just got to the point where, why am I doing this? I want stuff where I can send 100 and just be done with it. And
I'm totally for that too. But like I said, if you have a list, I'm happy to take it on. Anybody else that is sick of having replans that only sell 10 a month, please send them my way. I'm happy to give you my email address. I'll take care of that for you.
I'll send you.
I'll sacrifice and make that happen.
I'll send you a couple of mine. You're probably already on them anyway. But, I'll send you a couple. I'll show you exactly the kind of stuff that
I'm happy to get them.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I want it. I like getting a lot of stuff now. I only have 250 SKUs that are active, and I have almost 5,000 products, I think. It's somewhere between 4 and 5,000. It kind of fluctuates.
Right.
But, that's approximately 20 of everything at a minimum, or average. I like that versus, now I will do one-offs, but they got to be high dollar. I'm not going to do a onesie replan. If it's only 1 a month, that's just dumb. But if I could pick up 20 and have 2 months supply, it seems like I'm leaving money on the table if I don't do that. Okay.
For somebody else, that new person that's coming on, scanning the entire aisle and going, this is awesome, right? But I guess that's cool, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. 100,000 home and kitchen with 10 sellers. I'm going to sell 2, 3 a month. Doesn't excite me.
1 or 2 a month is different than 10 or 20.
Yeah.
You're saying 1 a day. It's like,
yeah, one a day is what I should.
I'll take the 20 a month. I'll take the 20 a month, hands down. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Come on. That doesn't make any sense. But, this is the same guy that didn't call me about, something already ordered that may already be out of stock because he just didn't have time, so maybe that's what it really comes down to. Either Duane's got this, threshold. He's got to sell, 30 a month or, nope, it's not worth it.
I don't know, man. It's just weird. And none of it's hard, fast numbers. It's just, and Darren's asking for a formula. It's really kind of I don't know. I see it. I kind of gauge the rank, the number of sellers. I just make a decision whether or not I want to continue to replenish that product. How much effort is it? Do I have to bag 3 of them together? Well, if I do, there better be more to it than something that I just have to put a label on, or even better, if I can commingle it, and I am doing more and more commingling.
Right.
I just like to commingle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you bring up a good point.
Hey, like I said, I'll take your list, Duane. I have no problem.
I will. I'll send you a couple.
I am having an issue of spending all of my money, so I am happy to take on some more products.
Yeah, see, we didn't even touch that part, and I'm not going to. We're already an hour into this, but I wanted, and maybe if you can come back next week or some other time. What I wanted to get to was last week I did a real breakdown of the numbers kind of thing, and if you spend $1,000 on coaching or $500 on coaching or anything, it doesn't. Still hear me? Yeah, there we go.
I can see you for us. Yeah.
Okay. So what effect does that have long term, or over the next 6 weeks? Not even long term. Over the next 6 weeks, if you unplug that money. So what I wanted to touch on tonight was, when is it okay to unplug some of that money? And I just, man, that I have us sitting here another half hour, maybe even more.
Yeah.
I can't get into it, but that was my plan. Was the when is it okay to spend? So maybe I guess I'll save that for next week. And Alan, if you want to come back next week, you are absolutely welcome to.
Thanks, man.
I will call you tomorrow. I promise.
It might not even be available anymore. It's been 4 or 5 days, Duane. I think my pallet was picked up today, so I don't know.
Dude, I don't even care if the product's available. I just owe you a phone call at this point. Crap.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah, Leron said, what, my bathroom scale makes an awesome shipping scale. Oh, no, that's Julie that said that. Okay, skipped on me. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Use what you have,
That's kind of the stuff I wanted to touch on. When do you spend the money on a scale? When do you spend the money? So that's going to be next week's show. There, already got a topic. See,
nice.
Normally I wait until about 4:00 in the afternoon to figure out what I'm going to talk about. But we'll talk about that again. Alan, you are welcome to come on. Thank you so much for sitting in tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Actually speak with you.
Yay.
Put a real face to everything, because you do not look like the woolly beard guy that is in your profile.
That's not working all of last year profile, backpacking.
Yeah, dude, that looked cool. I just had this image of all you do is hike mountains all day, every day, and live in a tent.
This is the working year, so next year I'll probably screw off for most of the year as well.
Very cool. Hey, and that's what you can do in this business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really can. And Leron, I saw him in the chat room quite a bit. Dude, you are always welcome to come on as well. And I think he said that he's in a 2-bedroom apartment or something too. I want to do a show on apartment RA,
with 3 floors. I want to see the guy on the video hustling. Some people say, "Oh, this is so hard." Really? Have you seen this guy? He's doing he's going to pull in $500,000 this year, and this is what he has to do every day.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Exactly. I mean, it truly makes you take a step back and go, what am I complaining about? I've got a 2-car garage plus a sunroom,
It's all about perspective.
It's all ground floor. There's not a stair in the place. Come on. I got nothing to complain about. But still, I look around and go, man, I need a warehouse. Not really. But,
I do need a warehouse. I do. Anyway.
Angie told me I'm not allowed to buy anything else this year. So
that's my whole goal. Nothing till January.
Yeah, I got the trailer, I got the truck. She cut me off. She's like, "You're done."
Nice.
That's it. So, all right, Alan. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Duane. Appreciate it.
thank you to the 50, 60 people that showed up to watch live. I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Next week we will talk about when is it okay to pull at least a little bit of money out of your business, to help propel you forward. So, all right, Alan, take it easy, and thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Night, guys.